Huh. It opened.
We should get back to the Flore warehouse then.
Hey, wait. Did you guys hear something?
What?
You didn't hear it? It came from over there. It sounds like something turning on. See, I told you. This screen wasn't on before.
You're right. Guess it was set to turn on when we opened the door.
It looks like an authentication screen. I think we need to put in an ID and a password.
Yeah, but what?
That was when I noticed the illustration. The lion is eating the sun. The lion is eating the sun. The lion is eating the... Memento mori. Remember death. If the 9th lion ate the sun. Oh, of course. This was the real 9th lion. But if that was the case... Okay, so we already learned the ID and the password. So it's Kurashiki. And the password is Jumpy-doll. Jumpy.
Sigma! Look!
You're...
Akane. Her name is Akane Kurashiki. I've been looking for her for a very long time.
He walked toward her. Slowly, carefully, almost as if he was afraid of scaring her away. He reached out.
She's a hologram.
Tenmyouji squeezed his eyes shut.
Akane.
He closed his hand around empty air and let it fall to his side. There was a moment of sad silence, and then she began to speak.
I see you finally arrived. I've been waiting for you. Well, I suppose that's slightly inaccurate. What you see now is a holographic message I recorded before you came here. Unfortunately, this means I will not be able to answer your questions, at least not directly. I hope you will understand. Now, where to begin? You probably have a great many questions. What day is it? Where are we? Who is Zero? And what does he have to do with Akane Kurashiki? But I imagine there is one question that rises above all the others. Why were we brought here? The answer to that is simple. Everything that has happened here is part of our plan. All of this was required for the success of the AB project. I assume you heard that question now, I imagine, is just what is this AB project? The answer to that is also simple. Allow me to explain. We created the AB project for one purpose: to transport the consciousnesses of two people into the past. Those two people are you, Sigma, and you, Phi.
What do you mean, the past? The moment the words were out of my mouth, I realized no one there could answer the question. Not Phi, not Tenmyouji, and certainly not a pre-recorded hologram.
Have you figured out what this room is? I assume you saw the Q on the door. It stands for quantum. That makes this the quantum room.
It took me a moment to realize she'd changed subjects without even pausing. There was nothing we could do, of course, but I still felt a twinge of frustration.
Take a look at the rear of the room. Do you see that large enclosure? That houses our quantum computer. The systems that control this entire facility run on that machine. That includes the construct you refer to as Zero Junior, as well as the golems. All of them do their thinking in that box. Isn't that strange, though? It seems contrary to how we perceive the world. The body, the thing that you see and interact with, is somewhere else. But the mind and all its thoughts are in this box. Perhaps it isn't so strange, though. Perhaps humans are the same, with our minds and thoughts existing separate from our bodies. Our core is in our head, of course. We all have individual brains, think individual thoughts, and act according to individual wills. That makes communication difficult, though. So, we're forced to rely on inefficient mediums, like language, photographs, non-verbal cues, etc., to transmit information. Each one of us is an individual, and we have no direct connection to anyone else. But is that really true? In the dimensions we are most familiar with, yes, it is. If we look at things from another higher dimension, however, we may all be connected after all. Like the branches of a tree, or a rhizome. Imagine a horizontal cross-section of the root system of a large tree. All you can see are the spots where the roots intersect the plane of your cross-section. In the two dimensions you see, the roots all appear to be individual things with no connection to one another. But this isn't the case. If you expand your view and look at the root system in 3 dimensions instead of only 2, you see the truth. All the roots join together at the trunk. In 2 dimensions, they appear to be separate. But if you look at the roots from a 3rd higher dimension, you see things that might appear to be separate from one another in 3 dimensions could be connected to one another if you look at them in 4 dimensions. Doesn't that at least seem like it could be a possibility? I believe that is how human consciousness actually works. Well, I'm not the only one, I suppose. Zero and I share that belief.
Morphogenetic field theory.
Tenmyouji mumbled something that sounded like nonsense. I opened my mouth to ask him what it meant, but Akane was already talking again.
Now, when I talk about a 4th dimension, I'm referring to the 4th dimension used in Minkowski space-time. Let's start with a single dimension, where all that exists is a point. Connect points to one another, and you have a line. surface, which encompasses a volume of space. Connect three-dimensional objects to one another, and you form a four-dimensional object, which encompasses a volume of both space and time. It is on that fourth dimensional axis that our minds are connected. If that was true, then what would prevent anyone from sending their consciousness backward or forward in time? That theory is the foundation of the AB project. The A represents after, and the B represents before. It probably sounds silly to you. A ridiculous story made up by a mad old woman. But look at what's happened to you. You've seen many different worlds and timelines, haven't you, Sigma? And what about you, Phi? I know you have too. Am I wrong? Tenmyouji should know what I'm talking about as well. I believe you experienced something very similar nearly half a century ago. You sent your consciousness to the past to help save a little girl's life. It was a long time ago, but perhaps you still remember.
Yeah, of course I do. How could I forget? That little girl was you, Akane.
Suddenly, it felt like Phi and I were outsiders, trespassing on something we had no right to see. Tenmyouji's face was taut with emotion as he looked into Akane's eyes. It seemed almost like she was looking back at him.
Now, unfortunately, my time is up. The final stage of the project will begin very soon. I need to go prepare. The next time we meet, I can tell you the rest of the story. So come and find me. I'll be waiting. One last thing. The cat in the box. Is it alive? Or is it dead? Sigma? Phi? You will decide its fate. Goodbye.
Wait! Akane, wait!
Oh, Tenmyouji. I can almost see you. You don't need to worry. Everything is going to be okay. I will see you again one day. I promise. But I'm going to have to ask you to wait just a little longer.
Wait! Akane!
And then she was gone. Tenmyouji collapsed to his knees, his back hunched and shaking. I saw tears land on the white-knuckled fists he pressed against his thighs. I kept quiet. What was there to say? Phi and I looked at one another and nodded silently. With a shaking hand, Tenmyouji pulled a photograph out of his pocket. It was a picture of a girl. After all that we'd been through, her smile was enough to break your heart. We made our way to the warehouse on floor A and met up with the others. It took only a few minutes to decide to head to the infirmary. As soon as we arrived, we began to treat Alice and Quark for Radical 6. I gave Luna the Exelavir that I'd found in the queue room. She quickly prepared it and... injected Alice and Quark.
Thank goodness. It will take some time for them to recover completely, but they should be fine.
Good.
Indeed.
Thank you, Luna. And thanks for finding the medicine, you guys. Thank you so much.
Don't sweat it.
No need to thank us.
Tenmyouji said nothing, just walked over to Quark's unconscious body. He took the small boy's hand in his own and held it tight. I could see tears at the corners of his eyes as he turned away from us. Suddenly I remembered. Dio. Where had he gone? It didn't take me long to find him. He was sprawled unconscious on the floor beneath the sink. Handcuffs?
Oh, we found those in the crew quarters. Before you returned, we went to check on the bomb in room 2, and we found them there. Of course, the bomb was indeed turned off. Thank you again for dealing with them. You are, quite literally, lifesavers. You have my eternal gratitude.
I coughed awkwardly and looked pointedly around the room. I glanced over at Phi to see she was doing the same thing. After that, we headed back to the Floor A warehouse to play the AB game. Specifically me, Phi, Kay, and Luna. Clover and Tenmyouji decided to remain in the infirmary, just in case something happened with Alice, Quark, or Dio. Luna would represent Clover's team. With Quark and Dio sleeping, Kay would represent their team by default, which left me, Phi, and Tenmyouji. You should vote.
No, I'll let you handle it. I chose Betray in the last round. You probably don't trust me right now.
What? That doesn't matter now.
Excuse me. I apologize for interrupting, but I think you should be the one to vote in the next round, Phi.
Why?
You already have 9 BP. There's no reason for you to choose Betray now. You see?
Hey, you're acting like I might actually try and betray her.
Not necessarily.
What does it matter what he's suggesting? We're almost there. We just have to play the AB game 3 more times. Then we can all get 9 points. But that means each representative has to choose ally all 3 times.
Okay. I'll vote. You sure you're alright with this, Sigma?
Yeah, I trust you. I handed her the star key.
Shall we open the doors?
An ambidex gate has been opened. 45 minutes remain until ambidex game polling closes.
Oh, right. We have to wait for the deadline.
Oh. Well, we could vote earlier, but then each voter would be stuck inside the AB room for 45 minutes.
Okay. Let's go back to the infirmary then.
I agree. Please, lead the way.
Luna and Kay set off toward the yellow door. I was about to follow when...
Hold on. I just remembered something.
What?
The AB room on the left. In one of the other histories, she...
Oh, yeah. You're right. Akane's body was in there. What does this mean? Why didn't we find her body this time?
Maybe because she wasn't murdered.
But how? When did history change?
Do you remember what Akane said?
The cat in the box. Is it alive? Or is it dead? Sigma, Phi, you will decide its fate.
The Schrodinger's cat thing.
Exactly.
I wonder what she meant about us deciding its fate.
Perhaps she was saying her own fate wasn't decided yet.
Huh?
The history where she's alive and the history where she's murdered are both real right now.
What? No, that's impossible. We've already opened the box. We opened the door to this AB room, and there was no body.
No, we haven't opened the box. We haven't found a body, but we haven't found her alive yet either. In other words, we haven't actually observed her. The hologram was a recording from before this game started.
The next time we meet, I can tell you the rest of the story. So come and find me. I'll be waiting.
Where was Akane now? Where was she waiting for us? Or what if she wasn't anywhere now? What if she was waiting for us in another timeline? Or what if she was waiting for us in the past? Was that even possible? If she was, what would that mean? Now to be continued. A new destination has been added to the flowchart. Oh, we gotta go even before we woke up in the AB room. Okay, well, we'll do that next. Thanks for watching.